Chosen one, if there is anyone else in the room with you right now, put your headphones on or step outside. You need to hear this alone. Anchor your spirit to my voice. The enemy has been working overtime to distract you from this exact message. He knows what shifts the moment you receive it. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like inside your own home. The atmosphere has become suddenly heavy. You walk through the rooms feeling like a complete stranger. Conversations stop the moment you enter. You wake up at 3 in the morning with a weight on your chest that you cannot explain to anyone. You are not imagining this. What you are sensing is real. This is not a panic attack. This is a spiritual confrontation. You did not find this message by accident today. The Holy Spirit brought you here. This is a divine appointment scheduled before the foundations of the earth to stop a specific attack against your territory. In the next few minutes, I will reveal why the enemy is targeting you in your own safe space. I will expose the specific lie making you accept this suffocating tension. And at the very end of this message, I will give you the exact declaration to expel it tonight. Do not click away. If you leave before the end, you walk away from your own breakthrough. You know exactly what I am talking about. You walk into a room and the temperature drops. The walls around you used to feel safe. Now they feel like they are closing in on you. And even when the house is completely quiet, you feel like you are being watched from the corner of the room. Your spirit picked up on this shift immediately. The people you live with are acting differently too. They seem constantly irritated with you for no logical reason. They withdraw into their own spaces while you sit alone. And when you try to ask them what is wrong, they quickly tell you it is all in your head. They make you feel crazy for sensing the tension, but you know that you are not crazy. You have been trying so hard to keep the peace. You quietly tiptoe around your own home every day. You carefully measure every word before you speak. You do not want to trigger another argument today. You are draining your energy to make everyone else comfortable. But no matter how small you make yourself to please them, the heavy spiritual tension in the air always remains. Your physical body is reacting to this spiritual environment. You feel a constant tightness in your shoulders and neck. You lie in bed at night feeling completely drained, but your anxious mind refuses to let you sleep. You are resting your body in the dark, but spiritually you are fighting a brutal, unseen war without any backup. You are carrying a massive and invisible weight. You look around at the furniture and the pictures on the wall. Everything looks exactly the same as it did a month ago, but the energy inside the rooms feels entirely different. You feel like an intruder trespassing in a place that used to belong to you. You sit on the couch quietly and you sadly wonder when you became a complete stranger in your own life. It is an incredibly painful type of loneliness. And the hardest part is that you cannot explain this to anyone. If you tell your friends, they will tell you to take a vacation. If you tell your family, they will get angry. So you are forced to carry this burden entirely alone. You swallow the anxiety every morning when you wake up. You put on a brave face for the world outside, while your inner spirit feels completely suffocated inside your home. This is absolutely not a normal psychological issue. This is not seasonal depression or a bad week. The spiritual atmosphere in your home has been hijacked. You are feeling the intense friction between your divine light and the darkness that is trying to establish a stronghold there. You have been asking heaven why your sanctuary has become a battlefield. You are tired of feeling like a ghost walking through your own hallway. I can feel the deep spiritual exhaustion settling into your bones because you have been fighting this silent battle for far too long. But you need to listen carefully to what comes next. But let me reframe your entire reality right now. I need you to listen closely to this profound truth. Your physical house is not actively rejecting you today. You are not being pushed out of your own territory by some toxic energy. That suffocating feeling is not a sign of your defeat, but it is actually a massive sign of your overwhelming spiritual authority. You have been looking at this backwards. The truth of the matter is far more profound. Your personal spiritual frequency has recently shifted. You have been growing and evolving rapidly in the spirit, and as your divine light gets brighter, it effortlessly exposes the nasty things hiding in the shadows. The atmosphere around you is not suddenly toxic. That specific toxicity was always hiding right there. You are just finally able to sense it. Those negative energies were very comfortable before. They lived quietly in the hidden corners of your home. They fed on your daily complacency and your normal routine. But your new spiritual vibration is absolutely burning them today. Your sheer presence in the room is violently disrupting their peace, while their dark energy is desperately trying to push you out. This heavy tension is their panic. They are reacting aggressively to the mantle you carry. This is exactly what the book of Ephesians chapter 5 verse 13 reveals to us. It says that everything exposed by the light becomes completely visible, and everything that is illuminated eventually becomes a brilliant light itself. Your spirit is doing exactly what it was divinely designed to do. It is forcefully exposing the darkness today. You are not wrestling against flesh and blood here. The strange behavior of the people in your house is merely a physical symptom. They do not consciously know why they are constantly irritated with you. Their unhealed trauma and hidden toxic traits are reacting violently to your newly established purity. This happens because the darkness inside their minds is absolutely terrified of the powerful light living inside of you. This is exactly why conversations immediately stop when you walk in. You bring a heavy frequency of truth into the room, and spiritual truth will always silence worldly deception. You honestly thought their sudden silence meant they did not love you, but their silence actually means your spiritual authority is intimidating the very demons they are secretly entertaining behind closed doors. Do not apologize for the intense discomfort your growth causes others. You have spent your entire life dimming your beautiful light. You desperately tried to make everyone else feel secure and happy, but heaven is demanding you to stop shrinking today. Your painful isolation in that house is not evidence of your disqualification, but it is absolute evidence of your perfect selection for this specific season. God did not put you in that environment to be comfortable. He placed you there to be a strong spiritual gatekeeper. The enemy wants you to feel like a stranger, so you will abandon your post. If he can make you feel completely alienated in your own home, he can successfully make you surrender your rightful territory without a fight. He is using your own deep empathy as a weapon against your mind, but you must recognize his cheap tactic right now. The heavy air you feel is just spiritual smoke and mirrors. The unseen forces want you to believe they are fully in control, but they are only making loud noise because they are currently being evicted. The spiritual eviction notice was served the moment your frequency changed, and they are throwing a massive invisible tantrum on their way out the door. And once that profound truth clicks firmly into place, everything instantly shifts. But there is a much deeper layer to this spiritual warfare. There is a specific reason they chose your house. Coming up in just a moment, I will expose the exact unseen trap they set. But first, this truth must settle in your spirit like bedrock. You are the rightful master of that house. Look closely at the biblical story of Joseph. He was completely isolated while living in the exact same house as his own brothers. They sat at the same dinner table every single day, but Joseph carried a massive prophetic dream inside his spirit. And that divine dream made his own flesh and blood despise him entirely, because they could not understand the heavy calling on his life. You are walking that exact same painful path today. His brothers did not hate him because he was cruel or arrogant. They hated him because of the glorious coat he wore. That coat represented unmistakable favor. Your spiritual frequency is exactly like that beautiful coat of many colors. It is a brilliant and undeniable marker of divine favor. And just like Joseph, Your favor triggers intense jealousy in people who feel spiritually stagnant because they refuse to do the hard work required to grow. They deeply resent the light they refuse to carry themselves. They see your natural intuition, and it reminds them of their own spiritual deafness. So they mock your dreams. They roll their eyes when you speak about the things you sense in the spirit, because your deep connection to heaven highlights their earthly limitations. They try to throw your confidence into a dark pit, but they do not realize that the pit is exactly what elevates you to the palace. Or consider the heavy isolation of young David. He was left entirely alone out in the distant pastures. When the great prophet Samuel came to anoint a new king, David was not even invited to the house, while his older brothers stood proudly in line. His own father forgot about him completely. His family saw a simple shepherd boy smelling like sheep, but heaven saw a mighty warrior who would eventually slay giants. The physical isolation David experienced was actually spiritual concealment. You have felt that exact same sting of heartbreaking rejection. You sit in a crowded living room with your family and feel completely invisible to them. You offer them endless love, and they offer you absolute silence, leaving you to wonder why the people closest to your heart refuse to see your true value. But their blinding inability to see your worth is not a tragic accident. God intentionally blinded them to protect your delicate spiritual development. If your family truly understood the magnitude of your calling, they would try to control it, and they would absolutely try to manage your divine assignment with their limited human logic. So heaven placed a heavy veil over their eyes. Your painful alienation in that house is secretly a divine shield. God hid you in plain sight, so the enemy could not use your loved ones to hijack your ultimate destiny. The lonely pastures shaped David into a fearless fighter. The dark pit shaped Joseph into a resilient ruler. And this cold house is quietly shaping you into an unbreakable spiritual authority for the coming season. You are learning how to stand firmly without needing any external validation. You are learning how to draw your strength directly from heaven when earth offers you absolutely nothing, which builds a foundation that no human being can ever destroy. This forced isolation is a severe masterclass in true endurance. Do not be surprised when your own flesh and blood turn hostile. Jesus himself warned us that a prophet has zero honor in his own hometown. The people who knew you when you were weak cannot comprehend your sudden spiritual strength. They desperately want the old you back. They want the version of you that was compliant and incredibly easy to manipulate. But that old version of you is officially dead. You cannot shrink back down to a smaller size just to make their insecure spirits feel slightly more comfortable today, because God did not call you to be comfortable. The heavy friction in your home is simply the loud sound of your spirit outgrowing its old container. It hurts to outgrow the people you love deeply, and you naturally want to take them with you into this glorious new season of ultimate freedom. But you cannot force spiritual sight onto blind eyes. You must be willing to walk this specific part of the journey entirely alone to secure the victory. But there is a much deeper reason you survived all of this hostility. Your survival was never just about outlasting the pain. It was about forging a weapon. And once that profound truth clicks firmly into place, you are completely ready for this next layer of revelation that changes absolutely everything about your future. Something massive is hiding beneath your ability to survive. Coming up, I will expose it completely. But first, let this reality settle. Look back at everything you have survived up to this exact moment. You walked through absolute hell when nobody else was watching. You survived betrayals that should have completely shattered your mind. You carried crushing weights that would have easily broken a normal person, but you are still standing here today. Your spirit refused to break under that immense pressure. That survival was not just a lucky coincidence. It was rigorous training for the specific spiritual authority you carry right now. And because you survived those massive storms, the enemy is terrified of you. He knows he cannot destroy you with giant tragedies anymore. You have already proven that you are completely unbreakable in the fire. So he changed his entire strategy. He cannot crush you from the outside, so he is desperately trying to suffocate you from the inside. This heavy atmosphere in your home is actually his absolute last resort. It is a pathetic attempt to wear down a warrior he cannot defeat in open combat. He hopes this daily domestic tension will quietly drain your divine energy. He wants you to surrender out of pure exhaustion. Think about how ridiculous his plan truly is. You survived the darkest valleys of death and massive heartbreak. You fought off demons that tried to steal your entire future. And now he expects you to surrender just because the living room feels incredibly awkward. He expects you to give up your calling because someone in your house is acting moody. You are stronger than this. This strangeness in your home is nothing but a final test of your endurance. Heaven is watching to see if you will hold your ground. Will you let a bad mood dictate your spiritual frequency? Will you shrink back down just to make a toxic atmosphere feel slightly more tolerable? Absolutely not. You have fought too hard to reach this level of spiritual maturity. You are no longer a victim of your environment. You are a highly trained survivor who dictates the energy of the room. When the atmosphere gets heavy, you do not absorb it anymore. You stand tall and you aggressively push back with your divine light. The shadows in that house have absolutely no authority over a chosen one who has already conquered the fire. It is perfectly fine to feel tired from this constant friction. Being a spiritual gatekeeper is an incredibly demanding assignment. But do not confuse your physical exhaustion with spiritual defeat. You are winning this silent war every single time you choose peace over chaos. Every time you refuse to argue, you establish a massive boundary that the darkness cannot cross. The people around you might never understand the quiet victories you achieve daily. They do not see the spiritual blows you deflect just by staying calm. But the spiritual realm sees every single move you make. The angels are standing in absolute awe of your resilience. You are holding the line in a house that desperately wants you to retreat, and you are doing it beautifully. Let the atmosphere be uncomfortable. Let them be silent when you walk into the kitchen. Their silence is just the sound of their demonic influence failing to trigger you. You have survived things that would terrify the people sitting across from you at the dinner table. You carry a heavy mantle of victory that they cannot even comprehend. You are absolutely untouchable today. You are transitioning from merely surviving to actively ruling your space. A survivor simply tries to make it through the night, but a ruler commands the morning and dictates the peace of the entire territory. Heaven is demanding you to step into that ruling authority right now. The heavy tension is just the resistance you feel as you take your rightful throne in the spirit. The enemy is panicking because he sees this royal transition happening. He knows that once you realize your true power, he loses his grip on your entire bloodline. Your current struggle in that house is breaking generational curses that have existed for decades. You are not just fighting for your own peace today. You are fighting to permanently cleanse your entire family tree. But there is a very specific reason the enemy is using these familiar faces against you. He knows exactly what makes your heart vulnerable, and once that realization clicks into place, you are ready for the next crucial layer of this revelation. Coming up, I will expose the exact nature of the hidden enemy waiting for you. But first, you must remember who you truly are. Here is that deeper root I promised earlier. The enemy hiding in your house is not a terrifying ghost. It is a highly calculated spiritual parasite operating quietly through the people you love. You are looking for a monster in the dark shadows, but the darkness is actually wearing a very familiar face today. It uses the exact people you trust the most, to slowly drain your divine energy, because you never expect an attack from someone sitting at your own dinner table. This is the harsh relational warning you desperately need to hear right now. The enemy knows your absolute greatest weakness is your massive heart. He cannot attack you directly because your spiritual armor is incredibly strong, so he uses the Trojan horse of your own deep empathy. He waits patiently until your guard is completely down during a normal evening, and then he strikes viciously through a casual comment from a close family member, leaving you feeling entirely depleted before you even realize what happened. Before you go any further, gently press the like button so this warning can reach another chosen one who is sitting in a crowded house but feeling entirely alone tonight. There is someone else out there weeping in their bedroom right now. They think they are losing their mind, trying to love toxic people. Your simple interaction will push this exact revelation into their path when they need it most, and it will confirm that they are not fighting this silent battle alone. Think about how the draining process actually happens in your daily life. It is never a massive explosion of obvious evil. It is an incredibly slow and exhausting bleed. A relative complains endlessly about their self-inflicted problems. They dump all of their heavy, toxic waste directly onto your spirit. And because you are a natural healer, you instinctively try to fix their brokenness while ignoring your own massive exhaustion, but they do not want to be healed. They only want to feed on your brilliant light to sustain their dysfunction. The enemy is literally using their unhealed trauma as a straw to drink your peace. You walk away from these normal family interactions feeling completely depleted. Your head aches and your spirit feels incredibly heavy. Meanwhile, they walk away feeling perfectly fine because they just stole your vital energy, leaving you to fight through the spiritual fog alone. You are being robbed blind in your own living room. This is exactly why the atmosphere changes the second you walk in. The parasitic spirit inside them is anxiously waiting for its daily meal. But lately, you have been pulling back and setting quiet boundaries. You stopped offering your sacred energy so freely, and that sudden starvation makes the demonic influence inside them extremely aggressive. They are angry because the free buffet of your empathy is finally closed, and they must find another way to survive without your constant emotional support. You must stop feeling guilty for creating this necessary distance. The enemy relies entirely on your false sense of familial obligation. He tells you that a good person must always sacrifice their peace for their blood relatives. But heaven calls that toxic codependency, not holy love. You cannot save people who are entirely committed to their own comfortable darkness. You will only drown trying to pull them out of the mud, while they actively fight against the very rescue you are offering them. They will desperately use your old habits against you too. They know exactly which emotional buttons to push to drag you back into the chaos. They will fiercely guilt-trip you for changing. They will accuse you of acting superior just because you refuse to engage in their toxic gossip anymore. The enemy is frantically trying to pull you back down to a low frequency where he can easily control you again, because your current elevation makes his old tactics completely useless. But you are no longer spiritually compatible with that low vibration. The intense friction you feel is the violent sound of two completely different spiritual worlds colliding in one house. You are carrying the heavy and pure frequency of the kingdom of heaven, and they are comfortably carrying the chaotic frequency of the world. Those two realms can never coexist peacefully under the exact same roof without a massive confrontation. The enemy is patiently waiting for you to drop your guard and compromise your boundaries just to keep the peace. He wants you to apologize for the beautiful light you carry, but heaven is commanding you to hold your ground fiercely tonight. Do not give them a single inch of your sacred territory. You must aggressively protect your spiritual reserves because a massive assignment is rapidly approaching your life, and you cannot afford to be drained when your crucial moment finally arrives. And once you recognize how this familiar parasite operates, you must take radical action to cut off its supply entirely. You cannot fight this hidden enemy while you are actively entangled in their daily emotional drama. Coming up, I will reveal exactly why physical and emotional separation is your only remaining option. But first, you must completely break your internal agreement with their manipulative guilt. This brings us to the exact reason I told you to watch this entirely alone. You cannot process this level of spiritual truth while sitting next to the people draining you. Your physical separation right now is not an insult to your family, because it is an absolute necessity for your spiritual survival today. You need a clean atmosphere to hear heaven. The enemy desperately wants to keep you in the same room as his agents. He knows that physical proximity allows him to continuously disrupt your divine frequency. Every time you try to focus on God, they will drop a heavy sigh or make a loud noise to break your concentration. They instantly create chaotic distractions while you are quietly trying to pray. You must actively break that physical connection. Spiritual contamination is a very real danger in these close environments. You cannot purify water while someone else is actively pouring dirt into the glass. You must remove the glass from the dirty environment completely before you can cleanse it, and your spirit operates the exact same way when it comes to toxic family members. You require physical space to reset your internal vibration. This is why Jesus often withdrew to the lonely mountains to pray. He left the crowds and his closest disciples behind to seek complete isolation. He knew that the constant demands of the people would eventually drain his human capacity, and he had to separate himself physically to maintain his connection with the Father. You are being called to that same sacred isolation today. Do not feel guilty for locking your bedroom door tonight. Do not apologize for taking a long walk alone to escape the suffocating tension. That physical boundary is a powerful spiritual declaration. It tells the demonic realm that you are no longer available for their endless emotional consumption, because you are officially closing the spiritual buffet they have enjoyed for years. The people in your house will probably hate this new physical boundary. They will likely bang on your door and demand your immediate attention. They will desperately try to make you feel completely selfish for choosing your own peace. But you must understand that their anger is actually a glorious confirmation of your victory. Their desperate panic proves that your boundary is working perfectly. When you sit alone in a quiet room, your true frequency begins to stabilize, while the confusing voices of your family members finally fade away into absolute silence. You can finally hear the gentle whisper of the Holy Spirit without any toxic interference. This quiet space is where heaven downloads your specific instructions for the coming battles. You cannot receive a divine strategy in constant chaos. Your isolation is a protective incubator for your massive spiritual gifts. A seed must be buried entirely alone in the dark soil before it can safely grow, and if you constantly dig the seed up to show other people, it will quickly die. You are currently in the vital buried stage of your profound spiritual development. You must stay hidden to protect the fragile roots taking hold inside you. This requires incredible discipline and a very strong spiritual backbone. You will feel a massive urge to run back downstairs to fix their bad moods. You will wrongly assume that your absence is making the situation much worse, but you must ruthlessly fight that toxic urge to become their emotional savior today. God did not assign you to be the sacrificial lamb for their unhealed trauma. You are only responsible for guarding your own spiritual territory right now. You cannot fight the demons in their minds until you completely secure the peace in your own, and the alone time you are fiercely protecting is building an invisible fortress around your spirit. And once that fortress is built, nothing they say or do can penetrate your walls. You will finally be untouchable in your own home, but establishing this physical boundary is only the first part of the ultimate victory, because there is something much darker, operating quietly beneath your desire to keep the peace. You have been holding onto a secret agreement that gives the enemy legal access to your home. If you do not completely break this hidden agreement, the separation will not save you. The distance will only delay the inevitable attack. Coming up in just a moment, I will expose this exact hidden block clearly while I show you the specific lie you have been telling yourself to survive the chaos. But first, this profound understanding of physical separation must land deep in your spirit. You must accept that your isolation is a weapon of mass spiritual destruction. Stay with me, because the truth I reveal next will shatter the enemy completely. But here is the part that nobody ever wants to hear. And I am saying this to you with nothing but absolute love. The thing quietly blocking your total breakthrough is not the enemy, because it is actually a hidden block inside your own heart. You have been actively afraid of your own spiritual power. You have been making secret agreements with the darkness. This is not an accusation against your beautiful soul. This is the divine diagnosis that will finally set you completely free today. You have been deliberately shrinking your massive spirit to keep the peace. You quietly surrender your territory just to avoid an argument, and you are constantly negotiating with demons to keep a fake harmony. You walk into the room and feel the heavy tension instantly. Instead of standing tall in your divine authority, you make yourself incredibly small. You lower your eyes and soften your voice to appease their fragile egos. You apologize for things you never actually did. You willingly give away your kingdom just to keep them happy, abandoning your post. Every time you shrink down, you give the enemy legal access. You are handing him the keys to your entire house. He does not take the territory by brutal force anymore. He takes it because you willingly hand it over on a silver platter, while you mistakenly believe that playing small is an act of holy humility. But this is not deep Christian love. Playing small is absolutely not a sign of holy humility. It is a toxic form of self-protection that directly insults the God who created you. Heaven did not give you a massive mantle just so you could hide it in the closet when things get uncomfortable. You are actively burying your sacred talent right now because you fear the friction it causes. You think you are keeping the peace in the living room, but there is absolutely no real peace in that house right now. It is just a quiet and miserable war zone. You are accepting a counterfeit harmony that requires the suppression of your calling, and true spiritual peace never requires you to assassinate your identity. God never asked you to destroy yourself. This quiet surrender is the exact root of your deep exhaustion. You are not tired because the enemy is relentlessly fighting you. You are spiritually exhausted because you are constantly fighting yourself. You suppress the powerful Holy Spirit inside you to make toxic people comfortable. Holding back a spiritual tsunami takes incredible energy and leaves you drained. You must look at this painful truth with complete honesty. You have allowed their bad moods to dictate the atmosphere of your home. You treat their chaotic emotions like the ultimate authority. When they are angry, you instantly tiptoe around them like a frightened child. You dethroned the King of Kings and crowned their unhealed trauma instead. They do not have the right to govern your spiritual climate. The atmosphere of your home should submit to the light you carry, but you have reversed the divine order completely. You let the darkness tell the light exactly where it is allowed to shine. This internal compromise is the invisible chain keeping you stuck, and only you can unlock it today. The enemy loves this fake peace strategy you have adopted. He knows that as long as you fear confrontation, he can control you forever. He uses your desperate desire for family harmony as a heavy leash around your neck. He tugs on it when you try to step into your power, and you obediently sit back down in the dark corner. You help him keep you in chains, but you were never created to sit in dark corner. You were forged in the fire to stand boldly in the center of the room. You must stop apologizing for the massive space your spirit requires. If your brilliant light blinds them, let them cover their own eyes. Do not put a basket over your divine fire just to protect their fragile comfort. Your mandate is to govern the territory heaven assigned to you. Your home is supposed to be a sacred sanctuary of divine peace. But you cannot establish a sanctuary while negotiating with spiritual terrorists. You must stop compromising with the very forces sent to destroy your destiny and drain your vital energy. The time for weak negotiations is over. This is the intense discomfort of true spiritual confrontation. I know it hurts to realize you have been participating in your own captivity. But this painful realization is the golden key that unlocks your prison cell today. The moment you see the trap clearly, it loses all of its power, and you can finally step into total freedom. You are waking up. You do not need to start a screaming match with your family. True authority is incredibly quiet and absolutely unshakable. It does not require loud arguments or slamming doors to prove its massive point. You simply stop shrinking and walk in standing at your full spiritual height while you let the heavy atmosphere break against your solid peace. When they throw their toxic energy at you, you simply let it fall. You refuse to pick it up, and you refuse to carry it for them. You stop managing their emotions, and you start managing your own spiritual gates. This quiet withdrawal of your compliance is the most violent blow you can deliver to the enemy hiding in your house right now. The counterfeit peace is officially over starting tonight. You are going to reclaim every single inch of ground you surrendered. You will no longer shrink down to fit into a box built by their insecurities. You are a chosen vessel of the highest God, and it is finally time for you to take absolute dominion over the atmosphere of your home. And here is the beautiful part about breaking this hidden block completely. Once you stop negotiating, the enemy has absolutely zero leverage left. He must pack up his bags and flee your territory permanently. And now comes the pivotal moment where everything shifts in your favor, because the time for quiet diagnosis is over, and action is here. This is your exact moment of total breakthrough. You have survived the agonizing preparation process. You have identified the hidden snare inside your own heart. And now comes the pivotal moment where everything finally shifts. The season of quietly shrinking down in your own home is officially over. The spiritual eviction begins right now. We are not waiting for tomorrow morning. We are not waiting until you feel completely ready or perfectly brave. Spiritual authority does not require perfect human feelings to operate effectively. It only requires your obedient voice declaring absolute truth into the atmosphere. You are going to take your rightful territory back tonight. I need you to stop whatever you are doing right now. Close your physical eyes and focus entirely on my voice. Take a very deep breath and let the heavy anxiety slowly leave your chest. Now place your hand firmly over your heart. Press it there as a physical reminder of the divine power currently resting inside your body. You are the designated gatekeeper of this entire house. God placed you in this exact location to establish a holy perimeter that darkness cannot cross. Feel that massive authority rising up from your spirit right now. It has always been there waiting for your permission. Now you must speak these words aloud with absolute conviction. Declare this with me right now. I release every single agreement I made with smallness. I repent for shrinking my spirit just to keep a counterfeit peace. I am a chosen vessel of the highest God, and I carry a divine frequency that darkness cannot withstand. I take back every inch of spiritual ground I surrendered out of fear. Speak it into the empty room. I am not a stranger in my own home. I am stationed here on a specific and powerful assignment. I command the atmosphere in this house to instantly submit to the light I carry. Every hidden parasite draining my energy must pack up and leave immediately. You have absolutely no legal right to remain here. My empathy is a holy weapon. It is no longer an open buffet for toxic spirits to consume daily. I close the spiritual gates to my mind and my heart tonight. I sever every invisible cord trying to drain my vital energy while I sleep. The people in this house can no longer manipulate my divine frequency to feed their unhealed trauma. Declare your permanent freedom boldly. The heavy tension in this air is completely broken. I flood every single room of this house with the brilliant light of heaven. My bedroom is a sacred sanctuary of profound peace. My living room is a territory of absolute truth. Confusion and chaos are permanently evicted from this property today. Breathe in that incredibly clean air. Do you feel the immediate shift in the room right now? The heavy weight pressing down on your shoulders just evaporated. The suffocating tension is totally gone. That is what happens when a chosen one finally remembers who they actually are. The enemy completely loses his grip on your reality. You just drew an unbreakable bloodline around your entire life. The unseen forces heard your declaration, and they are currently fleeing in absolute terror. They thought they could quietly push you out of your own sanctuary, but they deeply miscalculated the magnitude of the warrior hiding inside your gentle soul. You just won the war. We must extend this powerful declaration over your physical body next. Your physical vessel absorbed so much toxic shock over the past few months. Place both of your hands on your stomach right now. This is where you carry all of that crippling anxiety. Command your nervous system to fully reset under the authority of heaven. Declare it out loud again. I command my physical body to release the trauma of this environment. My shoulders will no longer carry the heavy burdens of other people. My mind will no longer race at 3 in the morning trying to solve their problems. I receive total restorative sleep tonight. My biological clock aligns entirely with divine rest. Your healing is not something you have to desperately chase anymore. It is actively happening in your cells right now. The cortisol levels in your blood are safely dropping. The tight muscles in your neck are finally relaxing. You are completely safe inside your own body, and you are entirely secure inside the walls of this physical house. Let this profound realization settle deep into your bones. You do not need anyone in this house to validate your existence or understand your calling. Their lack of understanding does not diminish your immense value in the kingdom. You are fully seen and deeply celebrated by the angels, even when you sit alone in a completely silent room. Some people require loud crowds to feel important, but chosen ones require absolute silence to hear their next strategic move. This isolation was never a painful punishment sent to destroy you. It was a holy consecration meant to elevate you above the noise. You are being meticulously prepared for a massive promotion in the spirit realm. And here is what this glorious victory means for everything coming toward you. When you wake up tomorrow morning, the atmosphere will test you again. Someone might sigh loudly or slam a door to trigger your empathy, but you will not respond with your old predictable fear. You will respond with the quiet confidence of a reigning monarch. You will look at their chaotic behavior and feel absolutely nothing. The toxic hook will completely fail to catch your spirit. You will calmly pour your morning coffee while their demonic influence burns itself out, trying to reach you. They will quickly realize that the old access door is permanently locked and heavily guarded by angels. This is the beautiful reality of your newly established boundary. You get to live in the exact same house, but operate on an entirely different frequency. You will literally float above the daily drama that used to completely drown you. Your peace will become a massive shield that effortlessly deflects every single fiery dart they throw. Keep your hand firmly pressed against your heart for one more moment. Seal this incredible victory in your mind. Say these final words with absolute unwavering faith. My breakthrough is not coming tomorrow or next week. My breakthrough is already here. I am completely victorious, and I am standing exactly where God planted my feet. The spiritual storm inside your house has officially passed. The heavy winds that battered your mind for weeks are completely still. You can physically feel the temperature of the room returning to a normal and comfortable state. The oppressive weight is gone. You are breathing clean air for the first time in months. Those negative entities that terrorized your peace are currently packing up and fleeing your territory. They realize that the rightful owner of the house has finally awakened from a long sleep. They cannot hide in the dark corners anymore because your brilliant light touches every single wall. You are the undeniable master here. The quietness in your home is no longer a hostile silence. It is a holy and thick silence that wraps around your weary soul like a warm blanket. You do not have to fill the empty space with nervous chatter anymore. You can sit in the absolute stillness and hear the gentle heartbeat of God echoing through your beautifully cleansed hallways. Tomorrow morning is going to look entirely different for you. The sun will rise, and you will step out of your bedroom with a completely new spiritual posture. You will walk down the hallway with your head held incredibly high. You will not tiptoe past their doors nervously anymore. The days of walking on eggshells are officially over. The people in your house might still carry their usual miserable attitudes. They might sit at the kitchen table and radiate toxic frustration like they always do, but their negative frequency will completely fail to penetrate your newly established shield. You will simply pour your coffee and feel absolutely nothing. Their quiet sighs and passive-aggressive comments will bounce right off your spiritual armor. You will look at them with holy compassion instead of debilitating anxiety. You finally understand that their deep misery is their own heavy burden to carry, and it is no longer your assigned job to magically fix their brokenness today. Every single room in your house will eventually become a beautiful testament to this incredible shift. The places that used to trigger massive anxiety will become your favorite spots to sit and pray. You have successfully terraformed your own environment through the sheer force of your spiritual will. The territory is completely secured. Everything you endured in this house was never a cruel waste of time. It was meticulously preparing you to hold immense spiritual authority without crumbling under intense pressure. The painful isolation was simply a holy consecration. The cocoon was incredibly tight, but the beautiful butterfly is finally emerging with massive wings. You are not the misunderstood scapegoat of your family anymore. You are a chosen gatekeeper holding a very high rank in the spirit realm. You do not need anyone in that house to validate your divine calling or understand your unique path. Heaven has already approved your specific assignment and stamped it with absolute victory. You are standing at the beautiful threshold of a brand new identity. The old version of you dissolved in the fire of this difficult season, and the new version of you is currently stepping into absolute abundance. Your breakthrough is not coming sometime next year, because your breakthrough is already actively moving inside you right now. You carry a heavy mantle of restoration for your entire bloodline. By refusing to absorb the toxicity of your relatives, you are effectively starving the generational curses that kept your family in severe bondage. Your quiet strength is violently breaking chains that have existed for over 100 years. You are the ultimate cycle breaker. Rest securely in this profound victory tonight. When you lay your head on the pillow, you will not have to fight invisible battles in the dark. The angels are currently standing guard at the four corners of your entire property. They are actively patrolling the perimeter so you can experience deep and restorative sleep without demonic interruptions. You will wake up feeling lighter than you have felt in 10 long years. The chronic fatigue that plagued your bones is being washed away by the gentle river of the Holy Spirit. The heavy fog of confusion has permanently lifted from your brilliant mind. You are stepping into a season of extreme clarity and unshakable divine confidence today. There are thousands of other chosen ones walking this exact same lonely path right now. They are sitting in crowded living rooms feeling completely alien and misunderstood by their own flesh and blood. They desperately need to know that their intense isolation is actually a glorious sign of their divine selection. They need this exact rescue. Share this message strictly with someone who has survived what you have survived. Send it to that one specific friend who is always called too sensitive and too deep for normal conversations. Be the exact lifeline for them that heaven was for you today. Your simple action could literally pull them out of a very dark spiritual pit. The enemy works incredibly hard to bury these specific revelations. He uses the algorithms of the world to hide this truth from the warriors who need it most. He wants you to forget your divine authority by tomorrow afternoon. But we are actively building an unbreakable army of chosen ones who refuse to be silenced or pushed back into the shadows. Subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications right now. You must stay closely connected to this exact frequency so you never miss the next critical revelation about your spiritual authority. We are walking through this massive transition together as a unified tribe, and your presence here is a vital part of the ultimate master plan. The painful season of hidden preparation is officially complete. You are completely ready for everything heaven is about to pour out. Hold your head high and walk confidently into the beautiful future that was written for you before you were even born. You are deeply loved, you are fiercely protected, and you are finally home.